The sound of basketball shoes squeaking against the gym floor echoed through the packed junior high gym. Jose had been looking forward to this game for weeks. His best friend Rocky was on the team, and they were about to win the city championship. The crowd was hyped, the game was tied, and everyone was on the edge of their seats. But there was one problem. It was 8 p.m. right now, and his dad had made it crystal clear. Be home by 8:30, or no more games for you, kid. Jose glanced at his phone. The buzzer would probably end in 10 minutes. He'd have just enough time to catch the bus and get home, no problem. But then Aaron hit him with the news. Yo, Jose, we're hitting Benny's after the game. You coming? Jose froze. Benny's Pizza Arcade. It was the place. The neon lights, the retro games, the endless supply of pizza and soda. Everyone was going after the game. Rocky's going too, Aaron assured Jose. Jose got excited. It was a chance to have the night of his life. But 8:30, that was his dad's strict deadline. The game ended a few minutes later, with Rocky hitting the game-winning shot. Outside, people were still cheering and celebrating. Jose glanced back at his phone. 8:14, time was ticking. He couldn't leave his friends hanging, right? It was just one night. He'd be home by 9 o'clock tops, maybe a little later. But Benny's, this was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of night. His dad would understand, right? With a quick look at his friends, practically begging him to join, Jose's decision was made. He hit send on a text to his dad. Going to Benny's after the game. I'll be home in an hour. It was a risk, but he felt sure his dad would forgive him. At Benny's, everything was perfect. The arcade was buzzing with energy, the flashing lights, and the sound of games and air hockey filled the room. Jose and his friends played everything. Racing games, skee-ball, and even that weird claw machine, trying to win a stuffed bear that they all knew was impossible to grab. They stuffed themselves with pizza, laughed, and felt invincible. Time flew by, but the fun couldn't last forever. Jose checked his phone. Uh-oh, there was a problem. It was 9:30 p.m. 9:30. His heart skipped a beat. He was over an hour past the time he told his dad. He needed to go. Fast. Guys, I got a split, he said, scrambling to grab his stuff. I'm really late. Pops is gonna be mad. He said his goodbyes and stepped into the chilly night air, hoping he could make it back before his dad's disappointment turned into something worse. Jose quickly checked the bus schedule on his phone. He missed the 9:30 bus, and the next one wouldn't come until 10:30. A pit formed in his stomach. Walking home was the only option now. He was only 2 miles from home, so he decided to head home on foot. Jose started walking down the empty streets, trying to keep his pace quick but not running, since that would draw more attention. The town felt completely different at night, quieter and darker, as if the buildings themselves were watching him. The streetlights flickered above, casting long shadows. Jose stuffed his hands in his pockets, feeling uneasy as the night wrapped itself around him. Then out of nowhere, a homeless man stepped out from behind an alleyway. The man was ragged-looking, his clothes torn and dirty, and his eyes wide and unfocused. Jose jumped back, startled. Hey kid, you got $1? The man's voice was raspy, and his words echoed eerily in the empty street. Jose's heart raced. He was frozen, unsure of what to do. Was this man dangerous? Was he just someone who needed help? Before he could even think, the man took a slow step forward, and Jose's feet finally reacted. He bolted. He didn't look back. He just ran, faster than he'd ever run before. His breath came in sharp gasps, his legs burning as he tried to outrun the terrifying feeling in his gut. But it wasn't just the man. The whole town felt strange. Jose passed more shadows that seemed to stare a little too long, and alleys that whispered things he couldn't quite make out. Every corner felt like it could hide something scary. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but he didn't dare check it. He had to keep moving, had to get home. Finally, after what felt like hours of walking, he saw his street up ahead. The familiar houses, the dim glow of lights from neighbors' windows. He had made it. He walked the last few steps slowly, exhausted, scared, but relieved. As he walked through the door, his dad was sitting on the couch, his arms crossed. Where were you? His dad's voice was calm, but Jose could hear the disappointment in it. You missed the last bus, didn't you? Jose nodded, guilt weighing heavily on him. Yeah, I stayed at Benny's longer than I thought. I'm sorry. His dad sighed, standing up. I told you to be home by 8:30. I don't know what you were thinking, but when you don't stick to your word, it only makes things harder for you in the future. His dad paused, then quietly said, This is how it all started with Angel. Jose lowered his head. His older brother Angel always stayed out too late and eventually joined a gang, causing his parents to stay up nights worried and sometimes even crying. Jose didn't want to put any additional stress on his parents. He knew his dad wasn't mad, just disappointed. He had messed up, and there was no way to fix it now. As Jose prepared for bed that night, Angel came into his bedroom. "Hey, macho," he said. "Pops told me what happened, and I get it, but I've also lived it. So do what you're gonna do, but just always be a man of your word. Your word is your most important quality, and you'll make mom and dad happy, okay?" Jose nodded and fist bumped his brother. He went to bed that night thinking about everything that happened, and he realized something. The fun at Benny's had been awesome, but it came with consequences. It wasn't just about breaking a promise to his dad, it was about making choices that he had to own. What seemed like a little extra fun now had cost him a lot of peace of mind and a whole lot of walking. Jose learned a very valuable lesson that night. He learned that when you don't respect your commitments, even the small ones, things can spiral out of control fast. Choices matter. And next time, he'd be home by 8:30 no matter what.